Time to work on your gift list with Black Friday deals at the Home Depot. Right now, get a select tool from top brands like Ryobi and Milwaukee for free when you buy a select battery kit. Choose from reciprocating saws, multi-tools, sanders, and more. Whether you're stocking up on power for your personal workshop or grabbing the perfect gift for someone else's. Get Black Friday tool deals delivered from the Home Depot. Limit 1 per transaction. Exclusions apply. Full eligible tool list in-store and online.
Add excitement to your holidays with Ohio Lottery Holiday Scratch-Offs, including $1 holiday cash and $5 holiday lucky times 10, or holiday bonus millions with a 200 times multiplier and a $2 million top prize. Plus, enjoy second chance drawings where you can win 10 times, 100 times, or 1,000 times the price of your ticket. Scratch-Offs make the perfect gift, and best of all, there's no wrapping required. Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly.
Gift sport with gifts from Nike. From the retro Vomero 5 sneaker designed with Zoom Air cushioning to fleece engineered with lightweight warmth and next-level comfort, we have the perfect gift for any athlete on your list. Shop now at your nearest Nike store.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our Quick Publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Red, your lunchtime catch-up on all things Liverpool FC and your daily reminder that the Reds are top of the league. 9 points clear of everybody. 11 clear of four-time champion Manchester City. It's a wonderful place to be. It's a surprising place to be after 13 games in the Premier League. And game 14 takes place tonight. The Reds travel to Newcastle to take on the Toon. That's a 7:30 kickoff. Do remember, it's not an 8 p.m. It's not a 7:45. It is a 7:30 kickoff. And it should be a decent game. I mean, they're not playing well. They haven't been particularly good this season. But St. James's Park is always a tough place to go because they do have great fans. They do create a great atmosphere. December is cold in Newcastle. Like, it's cold up there. So it won't be the easiest game. Despite the fact that we're top and they're in the bottom half, it won't be easy. Or it shouldn't be anyway. It should be a difficult game, and it should be one where our players have to raise the levels again, the way they did at the weekend against Manchester City. Now, going into this game, obviously, we have no Conor Bradley, no Costa Simicas, no Ibu Kanate, so we are a bit light in terms of defensive options. We have 5 for 4 positions, but Curtis Jones can easily fill in at fullback. I don't think there'll be a problem there. I think Tyler Morgan could play right back. Endo could play centre back. I've seen a few people suggest him at right back. I just think his first step is too slow. It's not just about pace in general, it's just about burst. And I don't think he's got it. I think at centre-back, he'd probably be fine. You could just play a little bit of a tighter defensive unit, not commit your fullbacks forward, and just protect him. Play maybe a little bit deeper so there's not the option of the ball in behind. But he's good in 1v1s and he's good in the air. So I think Endo would be fine at centre-back if it was needed. If worst came to worst, you could stick Darwin at right-back. It might be a bit mental, but like, he's quick, he's aggressive, he's pretty diligent, and he is very ball focused, but that might not be a bad thing as long as he listened. If in doubt and there's an emergency situation and you need to break glass, Darwin is the figure behind the glass. But like I say, there's 3 midfielders that can slot into the defensive line, I think, quite comfortably, not for prolonged stretches, but for 30 minutes here or for Girona away, or Southampton, or is it Girona away? I think it's Girona away, and then Southampton in the cup. Those would be fine. Speaking of Girona and Southampton, Ali is obviously not back yet, but he's getting there. And I was suggesting that perhaps the best course of action to build him back into the team would be obviously Kelleher tonight, then Kelleher against Everton at the weekend, then Ali for Girona, then Kelleher comes back in for Fulham, but then it's Ali for Southampton and Ali thereafter, with Kelleher coming back in. If we stay in the Europa League, Kelleher comes in for the semi-final, or the Europa League, the EFL Cup. Kelleher comes back in for the semi-finals. Kelleher could play the last 2 Champions League matches. He could play the FA Cup against Aki, although maybe you give that game to Yaros, just to give him the experience. Like, I think there's ways to keep Kelleher involved in case we need him again. But Ali's the best goalkeeper in the world and should come back. Still no Jota, but it sounds like he's getting closer to returning. Federico Chiesa looks like he's on the verge of returning. So it'd be great to have him as a bench option and then as a rotation option. Get him minutes against, if he's available for tonight and the weekend, get him minutes off the bench, get him a good chunk of minutes against Girona, maybe a start against Southampton, and start building him up. Same thing with Harvey, who's obviously just back, came off the bench for a very short spell against City. The Toon have some injuries. Obviously, Jamal Lascelles is a long-term one, and they're expecting him back, I think, in February. Emil Kraft is out till January after surgery. Neither of them are starters, but, depth is important because if you don't have depth, your starters have to play more. Sven Botman is the big one. He's been out all season so far. He's not expected back until the new year. He's huge for them. Like, he's comfortably their best defender, one of the best centre-backs in the league. So when they get him back, it'll make a difference for them. Although they'll have to be, aware of the fact that he's coming back off a long absence and won't be immediately at his best. The interesting one for tonight then is Isak. So at the weekend against Palace, he took a bang on the hip and he went off. Eddie Howe said, we haven't seen him in training yet, but we don't think it's a long-term injury. That was yesterday. So that doesn't sound like he's going to be right for tonight. Maybe off the bench, but doesn't sound like he'll be right to start. Now, look, watch him start and play 75 minutes. But there's a chance he's out. And if he's out, that's a huge blow because he's by far their best attacking player. He's the only one really in form this season as well, because Barnes has been in and out of the team. Gordon's having a terrible season. 1 open play goal so far. Not creating the way he did last year, not taking on his defender the way he did last year. Just looks a bit short of confidence. A big part of that is obviously that he's been shifted to the right wing from the left where he's more comfortable to accommodate Joelinton in the front 3, which is just bizarre because Joelinton came to Newcastle, played as a striker, was awful, got shunted out wide, was awful, and as a last gasp desperation to try and salvage the 40 million that it invested, they threw him into midfield, and he did do very well. Like, he took on a really big role for them in midfield. I don't really understand why he's playing on the left wing. I understand Eddie Howe's trying to pack the midfield, so Joelinton drops in and they're able to kind of choke teams. But surely you'd just start Joelinton in midfield and put Joe Willock on the wing, preferably the right wing, if you wanted to have that ability to turn a midfield 3 into a midfield 4. Just seems like the more sensible thing would be to get Joe Willock further advanced, where he's a good goal scorer. And you could see Joe Willock getting on the end of crosses from Gordon from the other side. And Joelinton would make more sense in midfield, but Eddie Howe is doing strange things. I'm looking forward to this one. It's a big test, and I think a lot of people are nervous about it. Obviously, we've got this and then Everton, and a lot of people are nervy over those 2 games, and a lot of people are suggesting that this could be where Arsenal claw back points. But let's not forget, Arsenal playing United tonight, and even though United have been largely terrible this season, they've got a new manager who's really good. And they looked really good at the weekend against Everton. And then on Sunday, they're going to Fulham, which isn't easy at all. And they failed to beat Fulham in either game last year. I think they lost last year at Fulham, if I'm not mistaken. So these are two tough games. There's a chance that if we win both our games, we don't just come out still 9 points ahead of Arsenal, that we come out further ahead of them. Because there's a real chance they drop points in one of these two next games. Now, Chelsea play Southampton tonight. You'd expect them to win, even though it's away, you'd expect them to win. But the weekend they're away to Tottenham, which is definitely a losable game for them. So if we do our business in these next two games, I think there's a sizable chance we come out 11 clear of Arsenal and Chelsea. Maybe even more. And City may have gotten back in front of them at that point. Maybe Brighton get in front of them as well. We just need to take care of us. Like, that's the only thing from here on. We just need to handle our own business. We don't need to concern ourselves with any of them. Because they're so far behind and there's no games in hand, we don't need to be looking over our shoulder. We just need to be focused on what's ahead of us. We just need to be focused team by team on who steps up against us. And that's Newcastle tonight. It's Everton on Saturday. It's Fulham the following weekend. And then Spurs, isn't it? Isn't that how it goes? I'm pretty certain that's how it goes. Yeah, Spurs. That they're the games we need to focus on. The Champions League, one more win puts us through in the top 8. One more win and it's job done. We've got Girona, Lille, and PSV. We will win one of those 3. So we don't need to worry about it. The EFL Cup is not worth concerning yourself with much at all. Just focus in on the league now. Champions League can become more of a factor when it comes round to the last 16. In terms of us against Newcastle, we have played them a lot in our histories. So over the course of 1893 to now, we have played them 187 times. We've won 93 of them with 44 draws. So the very first Liverpool versus Newcastle match was in League Division 2 on the 4th of November, 1893, and we beat them 5-1. Off to a good start. The next game was a draw, and then we beat them 5-1 again in 1895. They did then win their first game against us, also in 1895. But as you look through, it has largely been runs of Liverpool wins, then dispersed Newcastle wins. They have had a few periods where they've put together 3 and 4 wins in a row. 1907 and 1908, they won 3 in a row. 1919, 1920, 1921, they won 4 in a row. 3 in a row again between 1923 and 1924. I note that we once played them on Christmas Day in 1923 and then played them again on Boxing Day in 1923, which is unusual. Imagine the temper tantrums if that happened now. Another 3 in a row in 25, 26, and 27. And that is literally the last time they had a real run against us. Now, they had one run between 1988 and 1995 where we only won 1.
This episode is brought to you by Disney Plus. Game on, because ESPN Plus content is available on Disney Plus. You can watch your favorites from Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus together like never before. With ESPN Plus, unwrap a full day of NBA action on Christmas Day. Tip off the festivities with the Spurs and Knicks, followed by the Mavs and Timberwolves. Then a clash between the Lakers and Warriors, followed by the 76ers and Celtics. And finally, the Nuggets face off against the Suns, all streaming December 25th. Then with Hulu, watch the terrifying sci-fi thriller Alien Romulus, where a group of young space colonizers come face to face with the ultimate horror. And on Disney Plus, follow the adventures of 4 kids across the galaxy as they meet unlikely allies and enemies in Star Wars Skeleton Crew, starring Jude Law. All of these and more now streaming and available with a bundle subscription. Visit DisneyPlus.com for details. Terms apply.
So, you want to be a marketer. It's easy. You just have to score a ton of leads and figure out a way to turn them all into customers. Plus, manage a dozen channels, write 1 million blogs, and launch 100 campaigns all at once. When that's done, simply make your socials go viral and bring in record profits. No sweat. Okay, fine. It's a lot of sweat. But with HubSpot's AI-powered marketing tools, launching benchmark-breaking campaigns is easier than ever. Get started at HubSpot.com/marketers.
Time to move? Skip the hassles of selling during the holiday season and sell your home directly to Opendoor. Request an all-cash offer in minutes, close, and get paid in days. You can even pick your close date so you can move after New Year's. Start your move at Opendoor.com or download the Opendoor app. Opendoor is represented by Opendoor Brokerage Inc., license 02061130 in California, and Opendoor Brokerage LLC in its other markets. Terms and conditions apply.
They won 5 and there was 2 draws. But they were out of the division for multiple years. And when they came back up under Keegan, they were really good. And we were dealing with the fallout of the Graham Souness era and Roy Evans trying to get the ship righted. And that run ends in probably one of the most famous games English football has ever seen. 3rd of April, 1996 at Anfield. Liverpool 4, Newcastle United 3. We go 1 up through Robbie Fowler on 2 minutes. They equalise on 10 minutes through Les Ferdinand. Then Ginola puts them 2-1 up on 14 with a great goal. Fowler equalises on 55. Asprilla scores an outrageous goal on 57. Collymore scores on 67 to make it 3-3. And then in the 92nd minute, there's that infamous or famous, whatever way you want to look at it, bit of commentary, Collymore closing in, and a lovely finish to wrap up the win, and Kevin Keegan disappeared behind the advertising hoardings. If you don't remember the game, go and find the game. It's an absolute, I think it's on YouTube in its entirety. It's a belter. It's an absolute belter. Our team on the night, David James in goal. We had a back 3 of John Scales, Mark Wright, and Neil Ruddock. Wright had to go off at half time. He was replaced by Steve Harkness. We had Jason McAteer as our right wing back, Jamie Redknapp and John Barnes in central midfield, and Rob Jones as our left wing back. And he was replaced on 85 minutes by Ian Rush as Roy Evans tried to win the game, basically, while Newcastle were making one change, bringing off a centre-back to bring on a centre-back. Roy Evans took off a wing-back and threw on a third striker. We had Steve McManaman behind the 2 strikers, and McManaman was man of the match that night. He was incredible. And then Stan Collymore and Robbie Fowler started up front, and obviously both got 2 goals apiece. Tony Warner was our third sub, the unused sub on the night. Only 3 subs back then, not like we see now. For completion's sake, the Newcastle team was Pavel Cernacek in goal, Steve Watson right back, Steve Howie and Philip Albert in the middle, and John Beresford at left back. Peter Beardsley, David Batty, Rob Lee, and David Ginola strung across the midfield. And then Faustino Asprilla and Les Ferdinand up front. Darren Peacock, Keith Gillespie, and Lee Clark as their 3 subs. No goalkeeper on the Newcastle bench, which some clubs did back then. Quite a risky move. What's notable about that Newcastle team is if you go back and look at that season for Newcastle and look how incredible they were in the first half of the year. Like, they were just absolutely destroying teams. And then they signed Batty to give them a bit more oomph in midfield, a bit more defensive solidity, because they were scoring goals for fun, but they did concede a number of goals as well. So they bring in Batty, who'd won the league with Leeds, had been at Blackburn, won a league there, but didn't take his medal because he didn't play a whole lot that season, maybe 2 games or something. But was a really good ball-winning midfielder, wild at times, but a really good ball-winning midfielder. So they bring in Batty, and that makes sense. Everybody's like, okay, that's a great sign. I see how that makes sense. David Batty goes into the middle of that team as an upgrade on Lee Clark, who started a decent amount, and gives them more ball winning. And then they signed Tino Asprilla. And what the signing of Asprilla did is it pushed Peter Beardsley, who'd been playing off the striker, Les Ferdinand, and was probably going to run away with Footballer of the Year. It pushed him from that role into a wide right role, which Beardsley could play, but at that point in his career, he was 35, and he'd never been a winger. And Keith Gillespie, who'd been brilliant for them, 21-year-old Northern Irish international who was an absolute streak of lightning down that flank and was their outlet and a great crosser to the ball, it pushed him out of the team. And that front four with Gillespie on the right, Ginola on the left, Beardsley behind Ferdinand, that had a bit of everything. You had goals from Ferdinand, Beardsley, and Ginola could get you goals. Then you had creativity from Ginola, Beardsley, and Gillespie. You had the hold-up play of Les Ferdinand, the aerial ability of Les Ferdinand, the dribbling ability of Beardsley and Ginola. You had the outlet in Keith Gillespie. And you had 2 fullbacks always willing to get forward. Always willing to get forward. Particularly Beresford on the left, who would overlap all day long, which was perfect for Ginola as a right-footed left winger who liked to cut inside. He could go outside and he was a great crosser on his left foot, but he preferred to come inside and either pick a pass, pick a chipped cross, or get a shot away. And when they threw off that balance by bringing in Asprilla, who had to start because they spent so much money on him, it basically torpedoed their hopes of winning the Premier League title. And that win, for us, that was a nail in the coffin for them. So, the following year after that, we played them again at Anfield, this time in March, and we beat them by 4-3 again. On that night, we went 1 up through McManaman, 2 up through Patrick Berger, 3 up through Robbie Fowler, and that was half time. And then they scored in the 71st minute through Keith Gillespie. Asprilla scored in the 87th, and we just melted down, and they scored again in the 88th, a scruffy Warren Barton goal. But then Fowler rescued us in the 90th minute. So 2 late winners for Liverpool. Not quite the classic of the year earlier, but another great game, which again I think is in its entirety on YouTube and you should go and find. Since then, it's largely been Liverpool dominance. So the second 4-3 sparked a run of 6 wins in a row, then a draw and then a Liverpool win. Then they beat us. We win 3 in a row. There's a draw, a Newcastle win, a draw, a Liverpool win, a draw, Liverpool win, a Newcastle win. Rafa seems to get a handle on them. He wins 7 of the next 8. Only 1 defeat. Hodgson, of course, just being Hodgson, loses to them because he's Hodgson. But Kenny comes in, wins a couple in a row against them. Then we lose 2-0 up there, and Pepe Reina gets sent off, and Jose Enrique ends up in goal, and Kenny comes wandering up to the pitch, and Stevie has to run over and usher him off the pitch. And then there's a mixed bag of results up until the 6th of December 2015. Now, the 15-16 season is obviously the year that Jurgen has taken over. And we start off under Jurgen with a couple of draws, then we beat Chelsea, then we lose to Palace, then we hammer City, we beat Swansea, and then we go to Newcastle and we lose. Martin Skirtle scores an own goal on 69 minutes, and Gini Wijnaldum scores for them in the 93rd minute, and obviously to punish them, we signed Gini at the end of the season as they got relegated. That's the last time Newcastle beat us. The 6th of December, 2015. Near enough 9 years to the day. Since then, 2 draws, 5 straight Liverpool wins, 2 draws, and now 6 straight Liverpool wins. So 11 wins in the last 13 with no defeats for the Reds. Up there, since Jurgen lost that one, the 2-0, there's been a 1-1 draw, a 3-2 Liverpool win, which is the late Divock goal, a 3-1 Liverpool win, a 0-0 draw, which I think at the time we thought was a decent result, and then we capitulated thereafter. A 1-0 Liverpool win, a 2-0 Liverpool win, and a 2-1 Liverpool win, which is obviously the Darwin game, where Virgil gets sent off, they go 1-up, and then Darwin scores the 2 late goals. The last game between the two sides was on New Year's Day of this year. We beat them 4-2 at Anfield. We've had the upper hand on them, home and away, in recent years. And we need to maintain that upper hand because we need 3 points tonight. As simple as that. Right, AnfieldIndex.com. Liverpool eye 2 key signings to boost title push. There is a report today, I think from Team Talk. If it's Alex Crook, Alex Crook is TalkSport, isn't he? I don't know. Either way, it's from Team Talk, I think, where it suggests that we are going to look to buy Zubimendi and Milos Kerkez in January. So we'll see if that happens. There's a piece about what we've got coming up in December. There's a piece about our dominance over City at the weekend. A look at tonight's game. There's also a piece based on an article that David Ornstein has released today, where he's reported that we have made an opening contract offer to Virgil. It has not been accepted. It falls short in terms of the number of years and the value of the contract, but it's positive. It is a positive move that offers are now being given to these players, and hopefully we come to an agreement in the next couple of weeks, with all of them, preferably. Podcast-wise, then, we have a new Scouted up. Stephen Carroll had a good old look at the tune. Dave Davis and Phil Barker did a stat pack to look at the game over City and the dominance that we displayed. There's a new Rival Recon with Harry Sethi, so check that out. And the new Liverbirds pod is up, so make sure you give the girls a listen. And that's it. I will see you after the game for post-match Raw, which will be live on our Discord and then obviously released as a podcast thereafter. We should be getting started there at between 10 to and 10:15, but maybe jump on around 9:30 just to be sure. Right, folks, that's going to do me. I will see you later. Take care. Bye-bye.
We hope you enjoyed listening to this Anfield Index show. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel so future podcasts find their way to your device automatically. There's nothing quite like fan engagement, and we'd love to know what you think of anything discussed on this show. The best way to get in touch is over on our free Discord community, where both podcasters and listeners debate the hottest LFC topics 24/7. Sign up free now at AnfieldIndex.com/Discord. You won't regret it. You can also follow us on Twitter at Anfield Index and find us on Facebook by searching for Anfield Index. Oh, and before you go, we'd love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast app. It only takes a couple of seconds, and it means the world to the people who create these free shows.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.